In this video, we want to visit some mine shafts that has no rules going through it, and it was all dug up by people. The mines of Afghanistan. If you didn't already know, in Afghanistan, there are a whole lot of gemstones you can find, and they estimate there's $3 trillion worth of gemstones laying underneath the country of Afghanistan. Ever since the Afghanistan war began in the year 1980, and nothing was going well for this country, this is when the people of different provinces hit the mountains and started mining gemstones to make some cash for their family. Since they didn't have any proper equipment, they used hand tools and literally dug by hand. And because there was a war going on, they had access to explosives such as dynamite. So they also used dynamite in these mountain ranges to make their job a little easier. Because of about 40 years of digging tunnels and exploding them, we will find tunnels that go down 300 feet into the mountain. Even entering these caves is terrifying. They have gotten so low into these mountains that the oxygen level is very low. So they have a makeshift method of getting oxygen down into the cave, where they run a hose that has a fan in the outside that pumps air down there so they can breathe and work. Nowadays, in different gemstone mines, especially in Africa, you won't see dynamites being used, because when you use an explosive this strong, the gemstones have a chance of exploding and shattering into pieces. But the people of Afghanistan do not have the proper tools to dig these gemstones out, so they use what they have, and that's dynamite. The most interesting thing about the mines in Afghanistan is that when you enter the cave, you can find all types of gemstones. It's not like you can only find one type of gem. In one cave in Afghanistan, you can find the most precious emerald, and right next to it, you can find lapis lazuli, or even another gemstone you probably never heard of, tourmaline, which is very expensive, and the best ones are found in Afghanistan. So every morning they go up and start digging, right? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Anybody that wants to dedicate their life to mining these stones, they have to climb these mountains. And these mountains ain't no joke. You literally have to be climbing for days on end. It's not like where you wake up in the morning, head all the way at the top of the mountain, work until night and come back down. No, there's a chance you will start climbing for days or even weeks. And finally, when you get there with all your supplies and food, you will set up camp and work there for weeks or maybe even a month to maybe gather some stones so you can provide for your family. It has been more than 40 years since these mines are being dug up by people, and there is no engineering or proper way to do it. They just keep making tunnels and blowing up explosives. So since there is no engineering into it, there is a chance of collapsing. And you could say it's like a honeycomb where there's a hole everywhere, and the chance of collapse is always there. They keep going down inside these caves and inspecting the walls to see what they can find. This man is Habibullah, and he's been doing this for more than 25 years. So in a way, he's an expert in mining. He says anywhere where you can find a white stone that has black spots on it, this is a good chance that you will find gemstones around it. So these are the indicators that you should be using. Or another way, if you see yellow spots on the stone, there is a chance that there was lava here that cooled off, that brought gemstones like emerald up. So this is the areas they dig around. And sometimes when they hit a dead end where there is not a lot of things, this is when they use dynamite to make more space. Just like we said, other gemstone mines, people will not use dynamite because they don't want to damage the gems. But just like we said, in Afghanistan, they don't have the proper tools at their disposal, so they have to use it. But either way, there's a lot of danger in working in these environments. Like for example, in the year 2019, a mine that had more than 30 people working inside it all of a sudden collapsed, killing 30 people. The people that risked their livelihood and entered these mines for some of money, they can make about $100 to $150 per month, which is higher than the average income of Afghanistan. After the Taliban took over, this is when the news networks have investigated that they made the jobs of these miners a lot harder. Because if you find anything that's valuable inside these mountains and the Taliban figure out you're doing this, they will take it all for themselves. And that's why these miners are working in secret environments. But alongside all that, selling these gems has become harder. Between the gemstones you find in Afghanistan, the highest quality and the most common one is lapis lazuli. And if you've seen our video about this gemstone, you'll know that the best and the most common of these are found in Afghanistan throughout history. This is a stone cutter in Afghanistan, and he says when he receives about 10 kilograms of lapis, after cutting everything down and polishing it, he's left with about 1 kilogram of lapis. Alongside all these gemstones, Afghanistan has a lot of different mines. There are a lot of copper in this country, you have a lot of lithium in this country, and zinc, and of course a whole lot of gemstones. Even with all these riches in Afghanistan, there's no country, no company that wants to invest their money in this country. Even if a country like China invested their money in Afghanistan, it wasn't really good for the environment, it was just good for that country. And the only investment that has taken place in Afghanistan is a copper mine that's ran by China. But a lot of people are saying they exploit the people of these areas. The Chinese even have an idea of passing the new Silk Road through Afghanistan to help their economy. But still, nothing they came up with is final. If something like this happens, Afghanistan can be removed from the list of poor countries and be thriving. One of the biggest obstacles that doesn't allow Afghanistan to thrive is its geography, because it's so mountainous with high valleys everywhere that it doesn't allow road systems and railroad tracks to be built easily. Everything will cost a lot more than a flat land. Like for example, a copper mine that wants to be successful or a coal mine that wants to be successful, it has to be made next to water or a railroad track, because all this heavy stuff has to be moved somewhere. And if it's not a railroad or a ship, it's going to be extremely expensive. Just like we said, most of the mines in Afghanistan have been dug up by hand in the last 40 years. Maybe one of the reasons no huge corporation or country has began to invest their money in this country is because of the lack of road system and railroads. Do you see this map? The little spots you're seeing is different type of mines in the country of Afghanistan. So this shows us that it's a very rich country underneath. That creates another problem though, because the mines are not in one area where you can easily invest money in an area. It's all scattered everywhere. So to truly have access to all the riches, it's going to be extremely expensive to connect all these areas in one of the most mountainous countries of the world. Of course, the first step to a proper investment in this country is to create roadways that goes everywhere and then railroads. But unfortunately, all this will cost a whole lot of money and a lot of time. But you gotta start somewhere. Another huge issue Afghanistan faces is that it doesn't have access to the ocean. So it has to have a very good relationship to two of the countries it has borders with, Pakistan and Iran, so they can have access to the ocean. So what we're trying to say is that the country of Afghanistan is sitting on more than $3 trillion worth of riches, but it does not have access to it just yet. We wish this country the very best, and I hope it thrives in the near future.